Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Talk Conversation Series, a peer knowledge resource by the CXOs for the CXOs. Now to our host, Kanika Goswami.
Hi, we welcome you to a podcast on stage with enterprise thought leaders. My name is Kanika and I'm the managing editor of marketing media publications, Talk CMO and Talk Martech. We have engaging conversations with global thought leaders and industry experts. They reach about 1.3 million business leaders worldwide. Today we have with us Monica Ohara. She's a chief marketing officer at Fivetran. Welcome to the show, Monica. It's great to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I recently joined Fivetran and, my background is in the intersection of marketing and technology. So this is right up my alley. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Yes. So we've got a little bit of a background of Monica, which has been given to us by Fivetran. She brings extensive experience in driving growth at every stage, having previously served in marketing leadership roles at Shopify, WordPress.com, and HackerRank. She's also co-founded the growth marketing startup DataScore, which was acquired by Lyft, where she later led rider and driver acquisitions through the company's IPO. Before joining Fivetran, Ohara served as a vice president of growth marketing at Shopify, chief marketing officer of WordPress, as I just said, and the marketing officer at HackerRank. She also led growth strategy at speeddate.com ahead of its acquisition by Match.com. Ohara holds a Bachelor of Arts in English from UCLA and studied Principles of Engineering Design at Johns Hopkins University Center for Talented Youth. Talented youth, huh? How interesting.
Let's call it a very geeky summer camp for high school kids who got to do college stuff.
So I am sure we would have a very interesting conversation. We have a brilliant person at the other end of the camera, if I may say so. So Monica, what does a data-driven marketing team look like in the eyes of a CMO, and especially in the age of AI that is today?
Oh gosh, great question to kick us off. Let's see. So I think that, in today's world, technology is evolving so rapidly. And I think the best, most data-driven teams are really leveraging that to the max. And I think especially for CMOs and marketers at large, they need to start taking a vested interest in what their data technology stack looks like, because that just opens up a world of new opportunities. So on one hand, it will help you understand how things work, how to advocate for your needs, but it'll also inspire you to know what's possible. As marketing teams work with a lot of cross-functional stakeholders like data teams and engineers, being able to talk in their language is a really powerful skill to develop. Often, these two stakeholders come from different worlds. And so making sure that you can understand how to kind of bridge that gap is super important.
So what do you think is the best strategy for better customer connect? I know you're going to say tools, so we would like to talk about the tools and the tools that Fivetran offers. I also want you to tell us what kind of strategies a CMO should build around those tools, using those technologies for better outreach and customer connect in the market.
Yeah, definitely. I think kind of the name of the game with better customer connections is building relevance at scale through technology. And I think the way to do that is just being able to use your data to deeply understand your customer and using technology to personalize the experiences at scale in a way that feels very human. So I think, this is, again, an exciting time to be a marketer because all these things are really possible. There's actually like two very tactical things that I think companies can do to get better at connecting with their customers. Many companies are doing kind of two major marketing channels: paid marketing through ad platforms and lifecycle marketing through email. So I'm quite passionate about these two channels. And so one of them on paid ads, one of the challenges a lot of marketers run into now is that with cookie banner acceptance rates, they're quite low. And this has really affected marketers' abilities to understand conversions and be able to act on. And if you don't have those things, as much data, you can't optimize as well as you should be able to, which then hurts your ability to connect with a customer and get insights about them if you don't know who's converting. So one of the things that Fivetran, for example, can help enable is this thing called server-to-server conversions, where we can post those back. That really fills in the gaps on those blind spots in data. So that's one. And then two, on the lifecycle email side, I think there's really exciting opportunities to create segments for customers. And I think kind of the name of the game there is sending the right message at the right time to the right person. But in order to do that, there's a little bit of groundwork that needs to happen on the tooling side and on your infrastructure. We had a great customer called Canva, and they've done a really sophisticated job at developing this strategy with us. And so they needed to move really quickly from insight to action to be able to deploy campaigns targeting the right audience and get the right message to them. And so through our help, what they really saw was they were able to increase, by implementing this strategy, they were able to increase conversion rates by 33%. They were able to increase email open rates by 33%, rather.
So that's very interesting. Would you have any more such use cases to share? Because it will clearly demonstrate how this kind of a strategy really leads to success. So anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, definitely. I think those are two very common ones that I think are a lot of companies still overlook. So I think that to expand on those two strategies, companies really need to make sure that they're doing those basic things correctly. So making sure they're instrumented in such a way to be able to expand and address the customers that they may have gaps in tracking on, or might not have full visibility on the customer themselves. So I would really recommend that customers do that. Once they have all of their data centralized and a full view of their customer, then you can start to do really interesting things around data modeling and understand, what is a more proactive way I can address this customer rather than a reactive way.
And in all of this, how do you plan to leverage artificial intelligence for better customer experience or customer connect?
Oh, yeah, great question. I think when we think about our AI strategy, a big part of it is actually helping our customers enable AI. I think Fivetran is a really important part of the data stack to enable that. Because at the end of the day, AI is only as smart as the data it's trained on. And so bad data is really becoming the enemy of AI. We did a very interesting survey of our customers and found that, if they do not do a preliminary step of execution to be AI ready, that if they do not centralize their data, they will have about a 70% chance of failure at their AI initiative, which is very high. So basically, full stop. Like, if you do not centralize your data, your AI initiative will fail. So I think AI readiness is a really important component of becoming ready to stand up any kind of AI initiative. And so a big part of that, and kind of why I'm really passionate about what Fivetran is doing, is that you have all this information about your customers that lives in many, many different sources. For example, of our enterprise customers, around 3/4 of them have over 500 sources of data on their customers. Pretty crazy, right? So, and the manual engineering time to kind of centralize that is a lot. So, I talked about Canva earlier. So the real life example there is to just connect 3 sources. That took them 3 months. And we were able to help them take that down to 1 week for a variety of sources. And so very, very exciting time with speed to value. But in any case, my biggest thing that I think we can suggest customers do, and what we can help customers do, is centralize their data so these programs can actually be successful.
So you spoke about data, and this is not a question I'd planned on, but I really want to ask you this.
Sure.
It is critical to have clean, structured data for the optimum use of AI tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you face situations where organizations do not have that kind of data, but they really want to get the work done? How do you help them get through that situation?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where talking to our team can really help, because we can sort of advise on what their data strategy could look like. And there's a number of things that we can also help with that are built into Fivetran. For example, if there's schema drift or anything like that, we can address that. And so those are things that I think is really important for us to kind of bridge the gap with marketers and data teams to help them understand, all right, here's all the sources that you're interested in. Let's see what things look like. Let's do a pilot and kind of understand how we can help you get that data into the right place so that you can action it. And we also recently acquired a company called Census, which does this thing called reverse ETL. So not only can we help you ingest your data and extract it from different sources and centralize it, but we can also help you push it back now to platforms to action upon it.
So that's very interesting to know, because data always becomes it either a hurdle to good implementation of AI, or if it is not clean, then your tool will not work.
Yeah, definitely.
Meaning
I
it's
think speed too, right? So if it takes forever just to do the integration, I
Right.
mean, I think the moment's passed.
Right, absolutely. So marketing is no longer a strategy job alone. We all know that, and you know that more than any of us. So tools play a critical role. What would you identify as a single most important tool for your marketing plans? AI, yes, but anything apart from AI?
Yeah, let's see. So in terms of tools, I think what's kind of interesting, I'm actually kind of agnostic on tools. I think that every scenario, I like to look at it with fresh eyes to understand what are the requirements. So I don't necessarily have a go-to set of tools. I think the way that I think about things actually is thinking about the systems that will drive growth and then kind of work backwards from there. So for me, as I'm stepping into this new role, trying to understand what are the ways that this company is growing, and then what are some things that we should be experimenting with, and then if we're ready to automate or if we're ready to accelerate in a certain area, then we can figure out, do we build, do we buy, and what kind of tools to leverage.
Right. And the last question is, what do you see as a CMO's role in driving growth and leveraging tools to do so? And I need you to answer this, getting the experience from all your roles earlier, which have led you here today with all the expertise. So, in detail, please.
Yeah, sure. Let's see. So this is a great question. As I'm stepping into the CMO role, my main focus is figuring out how to build this growth engine for the company, how to build momentum. I really see that as part of marketing's job. The way that I think about growth might be a good way to kind of start off this question. So I see growth as really two things working well together. It's part math, but it's also part magic. And there's really kind of two things that I like to do to get to optimize each of these areas. So, I mentioned growth is math, and part of that means that, you're really trying to get more volume of something, more conversions of something, but how do you do that? So it's really about creating systems and implementing a culture of experimentation. Experimentation is, I think, another component of what more advanced data-driven marketing teams are doing. And so introducing a culture of experimentation really helps marketers basically not worry so much about getting it right on the first shot. It creates a safe space to fail, because the goal of experimentation is to learn what works in a very iterative way. And so actually, I want my team to actually fail more and be able to do so in a way that they're learning. So creating the systems that we can operate in that fashion of experimentation and just getting a little bit better every day and learning from what we do really reduces the pressure of getting things right from the beginning. I think a lot of marketers have had that experience where, they are sort of in a committee and they're kind of like debating heavily, like what should the message be, and they're kind of agonizing over it. But I think that those days you can really de-risk yourself as a marketer if you adopt this culture of experimentation, because you actually take a different approach where you want to do more permutations, not just bank on one single idea. You do more permutations at a small scale, and the best ones win, and then you keep growing those until they snowball into something really big. So that's one. And then on the other side, on the magic side, this is around people. I'm here to empower my people to do the best work of their lives. We've got a great team. I'll do a quick plug that we are hiring, by the way. So if anyone is looking, we've got lots of roles across the board. But the way that I want to help empower them is, again, kind of goes back to the system. Unblock them to run fast, try things, take more shots on goal, and really help them stay ahead of the curve in skill development so they continue to do awesome things. And just as they try more things, we'll learn what works, and we'll do that together.
So you're going to be a great team leader, because skills are good. Getting people to get more skills is even better, and especially because technology is evolving so fast that you can't stay stuck in one place.
Definitely.
So yeah, I get. So I think that's the end of where we have come, unless there is something else you want to share with us about your plans for Fivetran's marketing strategy. Is there?
I am super excited about being on board here. One thing I'll share is that part of the reason I joined Fivetran was I've been a longtime customer at different companies. And one of the things that I've always noticed at companies is I like to say there's a period of before Fivetran and a period after Fivetran. So I definitely saw the value as, a marketer. One of the common things that would happen is that a general cycle looks like this for data-driven marketers. They're running campaigns and then they're manually downloading information from various sources and they're putting them into spreadsheets. And then we all get into this situation that we call spreadsheet hell. Spreadsheet hell, I think, is very familiar to a lot of marketers where, they're just spending all their time in spreadsheets, doing it every day. It's like super manual, and there's a better way. And even in today's world, a lot of teams still operate this way. And so I think a big part of having a very performant team is caring a lot about what is the operations of the team and how do we just get smarter with that, with kind of automating stuff like this, because you want your marketing team working on the magic and what is the stuff that will really drive the business. So that's a big reason why I joined.
So great to know that. And thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you, Monica. Very insightful and, of course, very forward-looking. So, not a stale moment. We're not falling back on anything which has been done traditionally, so we'll continue to do it. And that, I think, is a difference that you're going to make to Fivetran.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. Please do follow us on social media for regular updates and new content.